Thank you for staying tuned and welcome to Lunchtime Politics on Channels Television, and we're reaching you live from our global headquarters in Lagos. I am Bukola Koka. First, the headlines. Suspended Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele and allies are to be arraigned in the Federal High Court on Thursday. Nigerians have again been assured of an improved economy as President Bola Tinubu stresses that there will be no increase in the pump price of premium motor spirit across the country. Plus, Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State has sworn in 18 commissioners to form his cabinet as he introduces key performance indicators to measure their performance. Thank you again for staying tuned. And as we start off, the federal government will on Thursday arraign the suspended Central Bank of Nigeria Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, and his associates at the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Abuja, over alleged 6.9 billion naira procurement fraud. Mr. Emefiele will be arraigned alongside a female CBN employee, Saadatu Yaro, and her company, April 1616 Investment Limited, on 20 charges of procurement fraud, conspiracy, and conferring corrupt advantages on his associates. The suspended CBN governor, who had been in detention since he was suspended from office on June the 9th, is accused of conferring corrupt advantages on Yaro, a director in April 1616 Investment Limited. The offense is contrary to Section 19 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act 2000. In the charges signed by the Director of Public Prosecutions, Federal Ministry of Justice, Mohammed Abubakar, Deputy Director Public Prosecution, Mrs. N. Jones Nebo, and 8 other ministry officials, the 3 accused persons are alleged to have bought a fleet of over 98 exotic vehicles and armored buses valued at about 6.9 billion naira. Some of the vehicles bought between 2018 and 2020 include 84 Toyota Hilux.
Also, we use beavers in that election. And it concerns us. We are worried. What other method are you going to use to accredit people to vote for that election? Are we not seeing again that they are leaving loopholes for them to manipulate this election in favor of the ruling party, as it has always been? It is our concern. And we are not about to sit down and sleep over this at all.
But do you need an official pronouncement on that? Isn't it a place of safe assumption, given the Electoral Act as amended 2022, that, the deployment of technology, i.e. beavers, has been provided for?
Well, the truth is guidelines must be pronounced. You know, some of these things, when they become legal issues, there are ways and means you begin to look at these things. So ESSEC must come out plainly to tell us this is how we want this thing done, this is how it will be done. So that
are you getting any intelligence that ESSEC is planning to deploy another approach to the election rather than the use of beavers?
Yes, unofficially we are getting such intelligence reports. But we are expecting them to come to us and tell everybody who's involved in this election, all stakeholders, that this and this is what we want to employ in conducting this election.
What exactly is the nature of the intelligence report you're getting?
It's such that they do not want to employ beavers.
What's the proof that you have?
Well, you cannot really come out with, to mention things. You hear them. We are in the political environments. We hear this, and we are also writing and asking. No reply has been given to us as to what method they will use. But, a while ago you mentioned that on the 24th.
So pardon me, so that means you're writing on mere hearsay since you don't have an evidence?
Oh, you cannot have an evidence until they talk to you. During the presidential election, INEC has to come out openly to say, this and this is what we'll do. We will transmit results from the polling units using the beavers into the ROV and all of that. Exactly the same thing we are expecting ESSEC to do in this case, so that we know where we really stand.
So you're saying categorically that you do not have confidence in the competence and independence of ESSEC to conduct the local government election?
I do not want to delve into the issue of competence.
What about independence?
Oh, independence, yes. I want to talk about that because judging by our past, the past history, each time ESEC goes ahead to conduct elections, it has always been lopsided. And I can tell you for free, the last election that took place in 2018, one of the main opposition parties then had to withdraw from that election. I haven't seen enough that it was never going to be transparent. But that's what we are trying to, work against in the Labour Party. Because when you do that, you are clearly slapping the people in the face. What they want, you must give it to them. And you are an institution created by law to do this. So if you do this again, we cannot even imagine what will be happening at the grassroots when these hands that are not competent are once again elevated to such positions of authority.
Well, we had, a PDP representative from Edo State earlier on one of our sister programs, and we were also expecting the chairman of the EDSEC, Justice Oyomere, I believe that he will also still make appearance on one of our programs to provide further clarification. Okay. But according to the ruling party, EDSEC is providing everything required for this election to go as planned, and this includes the training of staff and the provision of equipment. But we'd like to thank you very much, Mr. Kennedy Oriaki, Labour Party chairmanship candidate for Ego local government area in Edo State. We thank you for your time and contribution on the program.
Thank you, madam. Bless you.
There's more after the break, including the latest data from the National Bureau of Statistics, which shows that the headline inflation rate for the month of July has risen to 24.08%. That will be after this time out. Join us again.
Religion acknowledges it. Science calls it fact. Man's survival depends on nature. Today's reality: war, pandemic, food scarcity, nature's way of fighting back. Join the Earthfile team every week on the journey to learn how to right the wrongs. At these times on Channels Television.
Lights, camera, action, and showtime.
This is a big win for my generation of Africans all over the world.
You don't need no other body.
I want you to listen to me well.
The movies in the beginning was the love of man.
Some amazing talent in Nigeria who born, raised, they never left, they're there.
Shawty want a million $1.
Watch entertainment news on Channels Television at these times.
Welcome back. The latest data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that the headline inflation rate for the month of July 2023 has risen to 24.08% compared to 22.79% recorded in June 2023. The report shows that the rise represents an increase of 1.3% from the June 2023 headline inflation. The increase in the headline index for July 2023 is attributed to an increase in the contributions of some items in the basket of goods and services at the divisional level. For some time now, the nation's rising inflation rates continues to dominate discussions among Nigerians, leaving the government with the option of seeking for ways to address the challenge. As if the earlier rate of 22.79% in June 2023, which rose up from 22.41% in the previous month, was nothing to worry about, the nation's current inflation rate now stands at 24.08%.
To domestic prices will thus require...
The acting governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria had predicted this at the last Monetary Policy Committee meeting, citing the Russian invasion of Ukraine and other global shocks as a reason for the rise.
Inflation across several advanced economies has continued to moderate, but remains considerably above their respective long-run objectives, even as monetary policy tightening progresses. In emerging markets and developing economies, inflationary pressure remains broadly elevated, though there are signs of moderation in some countries. Global inflation is thus expected to remain elevated through 2023, despite broad measures by several central banks to ease the pressure.
The National Bureau of Statistics, in its latest report, gives a sectorial breakdown of the new rate. They include food and non-alcoholic beverages, housing, water, electricity, gas and other fuel, clothing and footwear, transport, furnishings and household equipment and maintenance, education and health. Others are miscellaneous goods and services, restaurants and hotels, alcoholic beverages, tobacco and cola, recreation and culture, and communication. Also, the report shows that food component sub-index increased by 26.98% on a year-on-year basis, which was 4.97 points higher relative to the rate recorded in June 2022. The report states that the rise in food index on a year-on-year basis was caused by increases in prices of oil and fat, bread and cereals, fish, potatoes, yam and other tubers, as well as fruits, meat, vegetable, milk, cheese and eggs. On states profile analysis, the report shows that in July, all items inflation rates on a year-on-year basis was highest in Kogi at 28.45%, followed by Lagos at 27.30% and Ondo at 26.83%. It, however, states that the slowest rise in headline inflation on a year-on-year basis was recorded in Borno at 20.71%, followed by Jigawa at 20.85% and Sokoto at 20.92%.
Well, there'll be more on the increase in the country's headline inflation rate. But in the meantime, Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State has sworn in 18 commissioners to form his cabinet and introduced key performance indicators to checkmate their activities on a regular basis. The governor also introduced mandatory weekly state executive councils, which he said will be used to deliberate on critical issues of the government. While addressing the newly sworn-in commissioners, Governor Dauda Lawal implored the new cabinet members to shun corrupt practices, adding that they cannot afford to disappoint Zamfara residents who are yearning for positive change.
I will assign, on behalf of the people of Zamfara State, a covenant with you on your key responsibility areas, responsibilities, and expected outcomes. As I said in my speech, this will be the parameters you will be assessed by the expectation to which your key performance indices will be hinged on. In line with the transparency mantra of this administration, this document will be available to the citizens of Zamfara State for them to also hold you accountable.
And the Judicial Panel of Inquiry on Recovery of Abia State Government Properties, Assets, Funds, amongst others, has held its inaugural sitting with a commitment to fish out individuals who have looted government funds either by error or misappropriation, and also to do a thorough job handling on the matter. The panel was instituted on July the 27th, 2023 by the Abia State Governor Alex Otti to ensure stolen assets belonging to the state are all recovered within a stipulated period of time. The chairman of the Judicial Panel of Inquiry, Justice Florence Duroha Igwe, retired, in her opening remark at the event held at the Old Government House Annex, Office of Wife of the Governor in Umuahia, hinted that the inquiry is not a witch hunt, but the Commission has a role to play by making sure that government assets looted from past administration are recovered and handed back to the state, and therefore will play an advisory role. However, Barrister Jasper Ejimofo is one of the believes that the judiciary stretches its search from 2023, if possible, to deliver a credible job. I'll return to one of our big stories, which is the increase in the headline inflation rate. to 24.08% compared to that recorded in the month of June, which was 22.79%. Joining us to look more at this and other economic realities is economist Mr. Marcel Okeke. Mr. Okeke, thank you for joining us on Lunchtime Politics.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for coming even at short notice. So, very quickly, some would say that it was inevitable that the headline inflation would increase, given the astronomical increase in the pump price of petrol, a month back or thereabout. But then again, are you surprised by the percentage points of increase from 22.9% at 79% to 24.08%? Should it have been higher?
I wouldn't say I'm surprised. I'm rather disappointed because we expected it to be much higher, given what we see on in the market every day, given what is happening to Nigerians, given to the rise in the prices of all kinds of goods and services and commodities everywhere. We expected to see a higher, rate, up to 25% or even more. Because at the rate things are going and the kind of policies we have in place, if they do their calculations very well, it's not unlikely that we are still going to hit the 30% the Bank of America, warned earlier on. So I wasn't surprised but disappointed by that level. It didn't appear and still does not appear to represent the reality on ground. That's my first reaction.
Now let's go to solutions and possible responses from government. What's your understanding of the assurances provided by government that there will be no increase in the pump price of fuel, and also that there are inefficiencies in the upstream and downstream sector that need to be addressed, such that the deregulation policy can be retained?
All of us in this economy know how we got to where we are today. So what the government needs to do is to tackle the problem right from the root. And the root is the issue of importing petrol from outside, refined petroleum. That is PMS, premium motor spirit from outside. As we are talking, government is not yet doing anything tangible in the area of having local refineries to function. Rather, we are hearing about more people being issued license to keep importing. So as long as they keep importing, and you now want to force them to sell at a lower price, in order not to make any profit, that's unrealistic. So something must give at the end of the day, unless they are going back to something they will call subsidy. Because as long as they are licensing people to import, they will come and operate in the foreign exchange market, utilizing dollar, and putting more pressure on the exchange rate and the naira crashing. When they import, it means they will now need to sell at a higher price. And so government will decide to now take up that higher price for them to continue to sell at even the current rate. That means going back to some kind of subsidy, unless that's what the government is saying. So you can't be giving us assurance based on nothing.
Speaking of which, Mr. Okeke, should government still have any business, saying that, or giving assurance that there will be no increase in the pump price of fuel, even giving the fact that if the market has already been deregulated? Should government still be taking responsibility in that regard?
If I tell you there's a lot of, the more you look, the less you see. I don't want to project the government in bad light. But this appears to be what it is open to everybody that people who are licensed to import are going to use dollars. And so when they do that, the exchange rate shows that they will need more volumes of naira to now import. And that means at a higher price. The price of oil is going up in the global market. And the price of refined product is also going up. So when they bring it in, what happens to the much they have paid? They are businessmen and must recoup their expenses and make profit. For this to happen, they have to sell it at a higher price. That's the reality. But if government is now telling us there will be no increase, there will be no increase, it means that somehow
Yeah, questions without necessarily giving a nod to another increase, but it appears that there are more questions than answers are available. Dr. Marcel Okeke is an economist. We'd like to thank you very much for your time on Lunchtime Politics. And you have been served on the program today. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back again same time tomorrow. I am Bukola Koka.